Welcome back to Interplanar Fighting Championships, where D&D monsters battle for bragging rights. We got the next challenge rating tournament set. CR3 monsters are ready to battle for the crown. And if you want to fill out a bracket, here's the official IFC scoring system. Guess a round 1 matchup correctly, you get 1 point. Guess a round 2 matchup correctly, you get 2 points. Guess a semifinal bout correctly, you get 4 points. And if you guess the champion correctly, you get 8 points. Also, if you want more of the IFC community, join our Discord server. Link is in my bio. Our first bout in the CR3 tournament is the Goliath Giantkin versus the CR2 champion Darkling Elder. Who's gonna win? There's only one way to find out. We gotta roll. The Darkling Elder is gonna go first. Gonna cast Darkness on their scimitar. Magical darkness spreads from a point you choose to fill a 15-foot radius sphere. Next up is the Goliath Giantkin. As a bonus action, the Goliath Giantkin is gonna use their Giant Strike ability. Until the end of its turn, the Goliath's melee attacks each deal an extra 2d6 damage of a type determined by the Goliath's giant community. We're just going to roll a d6 and that's going to be the type of damage dealt. A 6 means their extra 2d6 damage is going to be thunder damage. Going to run into the darkness and become blinded. They're going to use their multi-attack, 2 spear attacks. Both of these at disadvantage. 4 plus 6 is going to miss. A 3 plus 6 is gonna miss. And it is now the Darkling Elder's turn. In this darkness, the Darkling Elder can actually see. They have blind sight. The Darkling Elder is gonna make 2 scimitar attacks, both at advantage. An 18 plus 5 is gonna hit. A 9 plus 5 is going to miss. 1d6 plus 3 slashing plus 2d6 necrotic. 13 points of damage. The Goliath Giantkin's turn. First, let's see if their Giant Strike ability recharges. A 5 on the dice, which means their Giant Strike's ability recharges, and they're gonna use it again this round. They are gonna do the same thing. 2 spear attacks, both at disadvantage. A 5 plus 6 is gonna miss. An 11 plus 6 is going to hit. 1d6 plus 4 piercing damage, plus their Giant Strike's ability is going to do an extra 2d6 thunder damage. Total of 18 points of damage. And with that hit, the Darkling Elder is going to have to make a DC 10 concentration check. A 16 on the dice means the Darkling Elder is still concentrating on their darkness. Back to the Darkling Elder's turn, they're going to do another 2 scimitar attacks at advantage. And that is a natural 20. 1 more scimitar attack. 11 plus 5 is going to miss. 2d6 plus 3 slashing plus 4d6 necrotic. It is time to math. Please math along with me if you'd like. And if not, just trust me. 27 damage. Wow, oh wow. That was a big hit. It's back to the Goliath Giantkin's turn. Let's see if their Giant Strike ability recharges. 3 on the dice, it does not recharge. So 2 more spear attacks, both at disadvantage. A 15 plus 6 is gonna hit. We're gonna roll the damage because concentration might drop. And also, on a 5 or higher on this d6, the Goliath Giantkin will just kill the Darkling Elder outright. A 4 plus 4, 8 points of damage to the Darkling Elder, and they have 1 hit point remaining. But we do need to see if their concentration lapses on their darkness spell. A DC 10 concentration check. 13 plus 1 is gonna save. Darkness is still up. The Goliath Giantkin has 1 more attack with disadvantage. A 13 plus 6 is a 19. That hits the Darkling Elder, and minimum damage takes down the Darkling Elder. I thought for a second there was a chance. Just for posterity's sake, the Darkling Elder has a death burst. Any creature within 10 feet of the Darkling Elder must make a DC 11 Constitution saving throw. A 19 on the dice. They succeed, which means the Goliath Giantkin takes 2d6 radiant damage halved, so only takes 2 points of radiant damage. It wasn't going to be enough to take them down. The Goliath Giantkin is moving on to the next round. Our next matchup in round 1 of our CR3 tournament pits the Basilisk versus the Doppelganger. Who's going to win? There's only one way to find out. We got to roll. The Doppelganger will be up first. The Doppelganger is going to avert their eyes from the Basilisk because the Basilisk has an ability ability called Petrifying Gaze. The Basilisk can force a creature to make a DC 12 Constitution saving throw, but a creature that isn't surprised can avert its eyes to avoid the saving throw. The only downside is it can't see the Basilisk until the start of its next turn, which means for the Doppelganger's turn, as they run in to do 2 slam attacks, both of these slam attacks are going to be at disadvantage. A 7+6 is going to miss. A 7+6 is also going to miss. It is now the Basilisk's turn. With the Doppelganger's eyes averted, the Basilisk is going to do a bite attack at advantage. A 19+5 is going to hit. 2d6+3 piercing damage plus 2d6 poison damage. 19 points of damage. And it is now to the Doppelganger's turn. Given the big hit from the Basilisk, the Doppelganger is going to choose to look at the Basilisk, which means the Basilisk's Petrifying Gaze will go off. So the Doppelganger needs to make a DC 12 Constitution saving throw. A 12+2 succeeds. Now the Doppelganger will make 2 slam attacks straight up. 4+6 misses, but the 13+6 hits. 1d6+4 bludgeoning damage. A total of 7 points of bludgeoning damage. Uh-oh, Doppelganger. You're gonna struggle here. I don't think that they have a chance. Well, let's just keep going. Let's see what happens. So, the Basilisk's turn. They're gonna make a bite attack. A 14+5 is gonna hit. 20 points of damage. This is rough. This is rough for the Doppelganger. The Doppelganger won't avert their eyes. A DC 12 Constitution saving throw for them. An 8+2 fails, which means the creature magically begins to turn to stone. And this turn, the Doppelganger is restrained. Now restrained, the Doppelganger is going to have disadvantage on these 2 slam attacks. A 2+6 misses. A 3+6 misses. And we're back to the Basilisk's turn, and they're going to do a bite attack at advantage because the Doppelganger is restrained. A 12+5 is going to hit. A total of 10 on these 4 dice. The Doppelganger is down. 6, 5, 2, 1. 17 points of damage to the Doppelganger. And with that, the Basilisk defeats the Doppelganger. The Doppelganger is just so... Oh man, and the Basilisk is pretty freaky. The Basilisk is moving on to the next round. Our next round 1 matchup in our CR3 tournament pits the Knight versus Hellhound. Who's gonna win? There's only one way to find out. We gotta roll. The Hellhound is gonna be up first. It's gonna use their Fire Breath. The Hound exhales fire in a 15-foot cone. Each creature must make a DC 12 Dexterity saving throw. A 19+0 is going to succeed. 66 fire damage halved. 22 points of fire damage halved to 11 points of damage. It is now the Knight's turn. The Knight is going to use their multi-attack and do 2 attacks with their greatsword. An 8+5 misses and a 9+5 misses. Ooh, okay, 2 misses from the Knight. We are back to the Hellhound's turn. Let's see if they recharge their Fire Breath. A 1 does not recharge their Fire Breath, so the Hellhound is going to choose to use their bite attack. A natural 1. Poor puppy. We are back to the Knight's turn. Because of that natural 1, the Knight is going to have advantage on their first greatsword attack. A 13+5 is going to hit. An 18+5 is going to hit. 46+6 slashing damage. Okay, bad rolls here. A total of 16 points of damage. We are back to the Hellhound. Let's see if they recharge their Fire Breath. A 6 on the dice. They do recharge their Fire Breath, and that is what they're going to do. They're going to use their Fire Breath. DC 12 Dexterity saving throw from the Knight. A 3+0 is going to fail. 66 fire damage. So let's math it. 21 points of fire damage, and now the Knight's turn. Gonna go back to their bread and butter. 2 more greatsword attacks. A 7+5 and an 8+5 both miss. And we are back to the Hellhound's turn. Let's see if their Fire Breath recharges. Another 6 on the dice. The Hellhound's Fire Breath recharges. This could do it. This is a big roll for the Knight. DC 12 Dexterity saving throw. A 5+0 is going to fail. 20 on these 66s, and the Knight is down. Okay, I did the quick math. The quick maths tell me 5 plus 5 is 10, plus 6 is 16, plus 2 is 20, plus 1 is 21. A total of 21 points of damage. And with that, the Hellhound defeats the knight. Ooh, recharging that fire breath, baby. That was huge. The Hellhound is moving on to the next round. Another round 1 matchup in our CR3 tournament coming at ya. Living Portent versus the Hobgoblin Captain. Who's gonna win? There's only one way to find out. We gotta roll. The Living Portent is gonna be up first. Gonna use their multi-attack. 2 Radiant Strike attacks. A natural 20 and a natural 1. Okay, okay, that's how we started off. 2d12 plus 3 radiant damage. 17 points of radiant damage. The Hobgoblin Captain is up. They are going to use their multi-attack and make 2 greatsword attacks. The first one is going to be at advantage because of the natural 1. 14 plus 4 is going to hit, and 8 plus 4 is going to miss. 2d6 plus 2 piercing damage. 10 points of piercing damage. After the Living Portent gets hit, they are going to use their reaction Price of Defiance. When the Living Portent is damaged by a creature, Radiant Power sears that creature. The creature must make a DC 13 Constitution saving throw. 8 plus 2 is a 10. That fails. So 3d6 radiant damage. 14 points of radiant damage to the Hobgoblin Captain. That is bad news for the Hobgoblin, man. They took more damage on their turn than they gave out. Yikes. Okay. It is back to the Living Portent's turn. Gonna make another multi-attack. 2 radiant strikes. A 19 plus 5 definitely hits, but a 6 plus 5 misses. 1d12 plus 3 radiant damage. A 5 on this d12, and the Living Portent defeats the Hobgoblin Captain. A 10 plus 3 is 13 points of damage. With ease, the Living Portent takes down the Hobgoblin Captain. That wasn't even a match. This Living Portent, with that reaction, they're gonna be good. They're gonna be good. The Living Portent is moving on to the next round. Moving along in our CR3 tournament, we have our next round 1 matchup, Mudhulk versus Sapphire Dragon Wyrmling. Who's gonna win? There's only one way to find out. We gotta roll. The Sapphire Dragon Wyrmling is gonna go first. Gonna use their debilitating breath. The dragon exhales a pulse of high-pitched, nearly inaudible sound in a 15-foot cone. Each creature must make a DC 13 Constitution saving throw. A 15 plus 3 is going to save. 40-10 thunder damage halved. 17 points of damage halved to 8. Next up is the Mudhulk. Gonna use their enveloping slam. Spinning nat 20s! God, I love them. 2d12 plus 3 bludgeoning damage. 12 points of damage. In addition, when the Mudhulk hits with their enveloping slam, the target must succeed on a DC 13 strength saving throw. That is a 2. That fails. The Sapphire Dragon Wyrmling is now engulfed. While engulfed, the target can't breathe, has the restrained condition, and takes 1d12 acid damage at the start of each of its turns. It is now the Sapphire Dragon Wyrmling's turn. They take 1d12 acid damage. 9 points of acid damage. Let us also see if they get their debilitating breath back. They do not get their breath back. Gonna do a bite attack at disadvantage. A 13 plus 5 is going to hit. 1d10 plus 3 piercing plus 1d6 thunder damage. 12 points of damage. At the end of the Sapphire Dragon Wyrmling's turn, they're going to repeat their saving throw. A spinning natural 1. The world is balanced, and the Sapphire Dragon Wyrmling is still engulfed. It is now the Mudhulk's turn. With the Sapphire Dragon Wyrmling engulfed, they're not going to do anything. And it's back to the Sapphire Dragon Wyrmling's turn, who's going to take 1d12 acid damage. 2 points of acid damage. Let us see if they get their debilitating breath back. They do not get their breath weapon back. Gonna try the same thing. Bite attack at disadvantage. A 10 plus 5 is going to hit. 7 points of damage. At the end of their turn, they're going to make another strength saving throw. Another natural 1. Come on, Sapphire Dragon Wyrmling. Eat your Wheaties. Eat your spinach. Do something. It is the Mudhulk's turn. They're not going to do anything. And it is back to the Sapphire Dragon Wyrmling, who's going to take 1d12 acid damage. 8 points of acid damage. Their breath weapon still does not come back. Another bite attack at disadvantage. A 2 plus 5 does not hit. At the end of their turn, another strength saving throw. There we go. A 19 plus 3, 22 succeeds. The Sapphire Dragon Wyrmling is not engulfed anymore, and we're back to the Mud Hulk's turn. Going to try another enveloping slam attack. A 13 plus 5, 18 hits. 10 plus 3 is 13 points of damage. This is a crucial save. The Sapphire Dragon Wyrmling must succeed on a DC 13 strength saving throw, otherwise they are engulfed, and minimum damage at the start of their turn will take them to 0 hit points. So a 10 or better, and the Sapphire Dragon Wyrmling has a chance. 1s and 20s, baby. 1s and 20s. That's what we do here at the IFC. Not engulfed. And it is now their turn. A 6 on the dice. They get their breath weapon back. This is huge. This is huge. They're going to use their breath weapon. DC 13 Constitution saving throw for the Mud Hulk. A 15 plus 3 saves. 25 points of damage, halved to 12. Back to the Mud Hulk. Another enveloping slam. On an 11 or better, the Mud Hulk hits, and with minimum damage, the Wyrmling will be down. 2 on the dice. A 2 on the dice, okay. And we are back to the Sapphire Dragon Wyrmling's turn. The breath weapon does not recharge. Gonna try another bite attack. 2 on the dice. That does not hit. Back to the Mud Hulk. Another enveloping slam. 11 or higher, and the Mud Hulk is victorious. That is an 8 plus 5, a 13 misses. Okay, we're back to the Sapphire Dragon Wyrmling. A 5 on the dice. Okay, they get their breath weapon back. Sapphire Dragon Wyrmling's going to use their debilitating breath. DC 13 Constitution saving throw for the Mud Hulk. What is going on? It's spinning! Spinning like crazy! What is happening? That was wild. 13 plus 3 is going to save. 40-10 thunder damage halved. Wow. 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 31 points of damage, halved to 15. The Mud Hulk is up. Another enveloping slam. 11 or higher, and they win. And a 12 plus 5, a 17 hits the Sapphire Dragon Wyrmling, and with minimum damage, the Mud Hulk is victorious against the Wyrmling. Oh my gosh, the Wyrmling had a chance, but the Mud Hulk with those saves. The Mud Hulk is moving on to the next round. Our next round 1 matchup in our CR3 tournament pits the Ankylosaurus versus the Grell. Who's gonna win? There's only one way to find out. We gotta roll. The Grell is gonna be up first. Gonna use their multi-attack. 1 tentacle and 1 beak attack. First up is the tentacle. 12 plus 4, a 16 is gonna hit. 1d10 plus 2 piercing damage. 11 points of piercing damage. In addition, the target must succeed on a DC 11 Constitution saving throw. A 17 plus 2 is going to pass. So, the Ankylosaurus does not become poisoned for 1 minute. In addition, the Ankylosaurus is also grappled. If the target is a medium or smaller creature, it is also restrained. The Ankylosaurus is a huge beast, so is not restrained, only grappled. The Grell's beak attack. 11 plus 4 is a 15, exactly what they need. 2d4 plus 2 piercing damage. 6 points of damage. It is now the Ankylosaurus's turn. They're gonna do a tail attack. A 12 plus 7 is going to hit. 46 plus 4 bludgeoning damage. 21 points of damage. In addition, the target must succeed on a DC 14 strength saving throw or be knocked prone, but the Grell is immune to the prone condition, so it is now the Grell's turn. Gonna do another multi-attack. First up, the tentacle. An 11 plus 4 is going to hit. 10 points of piercing damage. And another DC 11 Constitution saving throw for the Ankylosaurus. A 10 plus 2, a 12 succeeds. The Ankylosaurus is not poisoned again. Their beak attack now. A 12 plus 4 is a 16. That hits. Only 11s and 12s so far. Wild, wild stuff. 8 points of piercing damage. Back to the Ankylosaurus's turn. Another tail attack. 8 plus 7 is a 15. That does hit. 19 points of damage. We are now back to the Grell's turn. Another tentacle attack. A 4 plus 4 misses. Let's do their beak attack. A natural 20. Okay, so 44 plus 2 piercing damage. 6 plus 2 plus 2 is 10 points of piercing damage. We are now back to the Ankylosaurus, another tail attack. 4 plus 7 is an 11. An 11 misses the Grell. That is a big miss from the Ankylosaurus, and we are now back to the Grell's turn. 1 tentacle attack. A 6 plus 4 misses. Now to their beak attack. An 18 plus 4 hits. 7 points of piercing damage. We are neck and neck right here. Okay, Ankylosaurus's turn. Another tail attack. A natural 1. A natural 1. Oh my gosh, that is huge. Back to the Grell's turn. Grell is going to do their tentacle attack with advantage because of a natural 1. A 16 plus 4 is a 20. A 20 hits. 9 points of piercing damage. Oh my gosh, that's big damage. Okay, DC 11 Constitution saving throw. And that is a natural 20. The Ankylosaurus is not poisoned. The beak attack, plus 4. A 13 plus 4, 17 hits. 2d4 plus 2 piercing damage. A total of 5 on these 2 dice. And the Ankylosaurus is down. Let's see what happens. And that is a 4, and that is a 3. A 4 plus 3 is 7. A 7 plus 2 is 9. 9 is more than 7, which means the Ankylosaurus is down, and the Grell is victorious! Wow, oh wow, me oh my, what about the Ankylosaurus had their chances? The Grell is moving on to the next round. Our second to last matchup in our CR3 tournament pits the brackish Trudge versus the Phantom Warrior. Who's gonna win? There's only one way to find out. We gotta roll. The brackish Trudge is gonna be up first. Gonna do their tusk attack. A 13 plus 7 is a 20. A 20 hits. 2d10 plus 5 piercing damage plus 1d6 poison damage. But the Phantom Warrior is immune to poison damage, so we're just gonna roll the 2d10 plus 5. 13 halved because the Phantom Warrior is resistant to piercing damage from non-magical attacks. So the 13 is only going to be 6 points of damage. In addition, the Tusk attack can knock a creature prone, but the Phantom Warrior is also immune to being prone. The Phantom Warrior's turn. Going to use their multi-attack, making 2 spectral longsword attacks. An 18 plus 5 hits, but the 5 plus 5 misses. 1d8 plus 3 force damage. 4 points of force damage. This might be a slugfest, y'all. The brackish Trudge's turn, a tusk attack. An 11 plus 7 is going to hit. 4 plus 5 is 9, halved to 4 points of damage. It is now the Phantom Warrior's turn. 2 more spectral longsword attacks. A 14 plus 5 hits, and a 7 plus 5 is a 12. Exactly what they need to hit. 2d8 plus 6 force damage. 17 points of force damage. Back to the brackish Trudge, another tusk attack. An 8 plus 7 is a 15. A 15 misses. Back to the Phantom Warrior. 2 more spectral longsword attacks. A 19 and an 18 on the dice. That means 2 hits. 12 points of damage. The slugfest is on, and we're back to the brackish Trudge. Another tusk attack. Another 8 plus 7 is a miss. And now the Phantom Warrior's turn. 2 more spectral longsword attacks. A 16 plus 5 hits, but a 6 plus 5 misses. 8 points of force damage. Back to the brackish Trudge. Another tusk attack. Okay, a 17 plus 7 is gonna hit. 12 points of piercing damage, halved to 6. It is now the Phantom Warrior's turn. You know the drill. 2 more spectral longsword attacks. An 11 and a 12 on the dice means 2 more hits. 16 points of force damage. With that, we are back to the brackish Trudge. Another tusk attack. A 12 plus 7 hits. 14 halved to 7 points of damage. Oh my gosh, a drag out fight. Phantom Warrior's turn. 2 more spectral longsword attacks. 17 and a 12 on the dice means 2 more hits. And with that, we need to introduce the brackish Trudge's Fungal Fortitude ability. If damage reduces the Trudge to 0 hit points, it must make a Constitution saving throw with a DC of 5 plus the damage taken. On a success, the Trudge drops to 1 hit point instead. So we're gonna roll the damage one by one. 11 points of force damage. Brings the brackish Trudge down to 0 hit points, which means the brackish Trudge must make a DC 16 Constitution saving throw. They add a +3 to this, so on a 13 or more, the brackish Trudge stays up. And with the 12 on the dice, the Phantom Warrior takes out the brackish Trudge. That resistance was huge, and the high AC was huge. The brackish Trudge could not overcome that. The Phantom Warrior is moving on to the next round. Our final round 1 matchup in our CR3 tournament pits the Archer versus Draconian Infiltrator. Who's gonna win? There's only one way to find out. We gotta roll. The Archer is gonna be up first. Gonna use their multi-attack. 2 longbow attacks. The 5+6 misses, but the 15+6 hits. The Archer's gonna use their bonus action, Archer's Eye. They get this 3 times a day, which means they can add an extra D10 to the damage roll. So 1d8 plus 1d10 plus 4 piercing damage. 12 points of piercing damage. It is now the Draconian Infiltrator's turn. Going to close the distance. Gonna make 2 dagger attacks with their multi-attack. A natural 20, but a 10 plus 5 misses. So 2d4 plus 3 piercing plus 4d6 poison damage. Let us channel our math. 23 plus 3 is a total of 26 points of damage. We are back to the Archer. Going to elect to move out of the Draconian Infiltrator's melee range, which means the Draconian Infiltrator can make a reaction dagger attack. A 14 plus 5 is a 19 that hits. 1d4 plus 3 piercing plus 2d6 poison. 12 points of damage. But now the Archer can make 2 longbow attacks. A 2 plus 6 misses, but the 17 plus 6 hits. The Archer is going to use their Archer's Eye feature one more time. 11 points of piercing damage. Back to the Draconian Infiltrator. 2 more dagger attacks. A 3 plus 5 misses, but the 19 plus 5 hits. 17 points of damage. Ooh, baby, that is big. It is now back to the Archer's turn. Gonna do the same thing that it did before. Move out of the Draconian Infiltrator's range. The Draconian Infiltrator gets an attack of opportunity. A 10 plus 5, 15 misses. Okay, so the Archer now is gonna use their multi-attack, 2 longbow attacks. That is 2 misses for the Archer. It is now the Draconian Infiltrator's turn. Gonna make 2 more dagger attacks. That is 2 misses from the Draconian Infiltrator. Oh my gosh. Okay, we are back to the Archer. Going to do what it has been doing. Moving out of the Draconian Infiltrator's melee range, Draconian Infiltrator makes a dagger attack. 7 plus 5 misses. The Archer now with a chance. 2 more longbow attacks. Oh my goodness. What happened to my dice? What happened to my dice? What did you do? Because that is 2 more misses. Back to the Draconian Infiltrator's turn. 2 more dagger attacks. A 10 plus 5 misses, but a 12 plus 5 hits. Very good rolls. 16 points of damage. The Archer is still up, and it is now their turn. The Archer is going to put away their longbow and make 2 short sword attacks. A 3 plus 6 misses, but a 12 plus 6 hits. 1d6 plus 4 piercing damage. 10 points of piercing damage. It is now the Draconian Infiltrator's turn. 2 more dagger attacks. On a hit, the Draconian Infiltrator defeats the Archer. Let us see. An 8 plus 5 misses. But I know you see the other one. I know you see the other dice. You do see it. It is right there, and it is a natural 20. And with that natural 20, the Draconian Infiltrator defeats the Archer. What a match right there. Now that is the IFC. That is the IFC, baby. The Draconian Infiltrator is moving on to the next round. Our first round 2 matchup of our CR3 tournament pits the Goliath Giantkin versus the Basilisk. Who's gonna win? There's only one way to find out. We gotta roll. The Goliath Giantkin will be up first. They're going to avert their eyes from the Basilisk. This means the Goliath does not need to make a saving throw for the Basilisk's petrifying gaze. Gonna use a bonus action, Giant's Strikes. Until the end of its turn, the Goliath's melee attacks each deal an extra 2d6 damage of a type determined by the Goliath's giant community. Let's just roll a d6 to determine what type of damage they do. A 6, which means they're going to do 2d6 thunder damage. Going to use their multi-attack. 2 spear attacks at disadvantage. A 4 plus 6 misses. And that is a natural 1. It is now the Basilisk's turn. They're going to make a bite attack with advantage. A 12 plus 5 is a 17. That misses. The Goliath is now back up. First, the Goliath is going to opt to not avert their eyes, so they need to make a saving throw against the Basilisk's petrifying gaze. DC 12 Constitution saving throw. A 6 plus 3 is a 9. That fails. On a failed save, the creature magically begins to turn to stone and is restrained. Let's see if they get their Giant Strike's bonus action back. They do not get their Giant Strike ability. It's going to make 2 spear attacks, both at disadvantage because they are restrained. A 5 plus 6 misses. A 9 plus 6 hits. 1d6 plus 4 piercing damage. 8 points of piercing damage. And is now to the Basilisk's turn. Gonna make a bite attack at advantage. A 14 plus 5 is going to hit. 2d6 plus 3 piercing plus 2d6 poison. 13 points of damage. The Goliath Giantkin's turn. Let's see if they get Giant Strike's bonus action back. A 6 on the dice. They do get it back. They are going to use it, and they're going to make 2 spear attacks, both at disadvantage. A 15 plus 6 hits. Oh no, a natural 20, but also a natural 1. But they do get a hit. 1d6 plus 4 piercing plus 2d6 thunder damage. All 4s, the mark of the Spectre. Total of 16 points of damage. Now comes the important part. Because for the Petrifying Gaze, the creature must repeat the saving throw at the end of its next turn. On a success, the effect ends. On a failure, the creature is petrified. DC 12 con saving throw. This is for the match. With a 14 plus 3, the Goliath is restored and no longer restrained. It is now to the Basilisk. They are going to make a bite attack with advantage because of the nat 1. A 14 plus 5 is going to hit. 20 points of damage. That was a good hit. We are now back to the Goliath Giantkin's turn. The Goliath Giantkin is going to elect to look at the Basilisk. So, a DC 12 Constitution saving throw. A 12 plus 3, which means they succeed on the Petrifying Gaze. So. Let's see if they recharge Giant Strikes. They do not recharge Giant Strikes. They're going to make 2 spear attacks straight up. 2 9s. 9 plus 6 is a 15. That means 2 hits. 2d6 plus 8 piercing damage. 15 points of piercing damage. That was big. That was big. Okay. The Basilisk's turn. A bite attack. A 7 plus 5 misses. And now we are back to the Goliath Giantkin's turn. They are going to elect to look at the Basilisk, which means another DC 12 Constitution saving throw. A 4 plus 3 does not succeed. They begin turning to stone and are restrained. Let's see if they get Giant Strikes back. They do not get Giant Strikes back. 2 spear attacks at disadvantage. A 5 plus 6 misses. A 7 plus 6 misses, so that is 2 misses. Oh my gosh. Okay, the Basilisk's turn. A bite attack at advantage. Oh my goodness. A natural 20. This could do it. This is massive. 46 plus 3 piercing plus 46 poison. Let's do the piercing damage first. 17 points of piercing damage. And now 46 poison damage. 17 on these 4 dice. And the Goliath is down. Oh, nice. A 5 plus 3 plus 2 is 10. Plus 6 is 16. The Goliath Giantkin is up with 1 hit point remaining. The Goliath Giantkin is now up. Let's first see if they get Giant Strikes back. That is massive. They do get Giant Strikes back. They're going to use Giant Strikes as a bonus action. They are restrained, which means they're going to have disadvantage on their 2 spear attacks. They need the lower of these 2 dice to be 9 or higher. A 5 plus 6 misses. Attack number 2. Oh. No. And that is a natural 1. Oh my gosh, that is brutal. Brutal. This isn't over. They need to make a DC 12 Constitution saving throw. They don't succeed. They will be petrified. And that is a 3 on the dice. And so at the end of the Goliath Giantkin's turn, they become petrified, which means the Basilisk defeats the Goliath Giantkin. Oh my god, that was an incredible match. That was crazy. The Basilisk is moving on to the semifinals. Moving along in round 2 of our CR3 tournament, we have the Hellhound versus the Living Portent. Who's gonna win? There's only one way to find out. We gotta roll. The Living Portent is going to be up first. Going to use their multi-attack and make 2 Radiant Strike attacks. Oh, 219. That means 2 hits. 2d12 plus 6 radiant damage. Oh, only 10 points of damage. To the Hellhound's turn, gonna use their Fire Breath. Exhales fire in a 15-foot cone. Each creature must make a DC 12 dexterity saving throw. An 8 plus 5 is a 13. A 13 succeeds. 66 fire damage halved. Okay, let's do it. 19 points of fire damage halved to 9. And in addition, the Living Portent's going to use a reaction, Price of Defiance. When the Living Portent is damaged by a creature that I can see, Radiant Power sears the creature. The creature must make a DC 13 Constitution saving throw. A 14 plus 2 succeeds. The Hellhound's gonna take 3d6 radiant damage halved. 8 points of radiant damage halved to 4. We are now back to the Living Portent's turn. Gonna make 2 more radiant strike attacks. 11 plus 5 hits and a 17 plus 5 hits, so 2 more hits. 19 points of damage. That is a big hit. It is now the Hellhound's turn. Let's see if they get their Fire Breath back. They do not get their Fire Breath. The Hellhound's going to do a bite attack. A 6 plus 5 is going to miss. It is now back to the Living Portent's turn. 2 more Radiant Strike attacks. A 4 plus 5 misses, but a 15 plus 5 hits. 1d12 plus 3 radiant damage. A 9 on this dice, and the Hellhound is down. A 7 plus 3 is 10 points of damage, and the Hellhound is hanging on by a thread. The Hellhound's turn, gonna see if they get their Fire Breath back. They do get it back. The Hellhound's gonna use their Fire Breath. DC 12 Dexterity saving throw. 13 plus 5 is gonna succeed. 66 fire damage halved. 4s and 1s. Okay, 18 points of damage, halved to 9. The Living Portent's gonna use their Price of Defiance, a DC 13 Constitution saving throw. A 7 plus 2 is gonna fail. So let's just roll the damage. 14 points of damage, and with that, the Hellhound is down. This Living Portent is bonkers. Barely got a scratch. The Living Portent is moving on to the next round. Our next round 2 bout in our CR3 tournament is the Mudhulk versus Grell. Who's gonna win? There's only one way to find out. We gotta roll. The Mudhulk is gonna be up first. Gonna use their Enveloping Slam, plus 5 to hit. 4 plus 5 is gonna miss. To the Grell's turn. Gonna use their multi-attack. 1 tentacle and 1 beak attack. First up, the tentacle. An 18 plus 4 is gonna hit. 1d10 plus 2 piercing damage. 10 points of piercing damage. In addition, the target must succeed on a DC 11 Constitution saving throw or be poisoned for 1 minute. A 3 plus 3, a 6 fails. The Mudhulk is now poisoned. While a target is poisoned, it is also paralyzed, but the Mudhulk is immune to the paralyzed condition. In addition, when a tentacle attack hits, the target is also grappled. If the target is medium or smaller, it is also restrained. The Mudhulk is a large creature, so it is not restrained. With all that out of the way, the Grell is now going to make a beak attack. A 10 plus 4, 14 hits. 2d4 plus 2 piercing. Ooh, 2 4s. 10 points of damage. It is now the Mudhulk's turn. Gonna try another Enveloping Slam at disadvantage because they are poisoned. An 11 plus 5, a 16 hits. 1d12 plus 3 bludgeoning damage. 10 points of bludgeoning damage, and if the target is a large or smaller creature, it must succeed on a DC 13 strength saving throw or be pulled into the Mudhulk space and be engulfed by the Mudhulk. A 6 plus 2, an 8 fails. With that, the Grell is now engulfed. While engulfed, the target can't breathe, has a restrained condition, and takes 1d12 acid damage at the start of each of its turns. At the end of the Mudhulk's turn, they can make another saving throw against the poison condition. Natural 1. They do not succeed. The Grell's turn. At the start of their turn, they take 1d12 acid damage. 8 points of acid damage. The Grell's going to use their multi-attack, 1 tentacle and 1 beak attack, both at disadvantage. A 3+4 misses. Their beak attack, a 4+4 misses. At the end of the Grell's turn, they can make a saving throw to try to escape this engulfed condition. A 17+2 is going to succeed, so the Grell is not engulfed. We are back to the Mudhulk's turn. It's still poisoned, so they're going to do another enveloping slam at disadvantage. A 15+5 is going to hit. Wow, some good disadvantage rolls here. Only 4 points of bludgeoning damage. The Grell needs to make another strength saving throw to prevent being engulfed. Okay, a 17+2 is going to succeed. At the end of the Mudhulk's turn, another saving throw for the poison condition. An 8+3 is an 11, exactly what they needed to save. It is now the Grell's turn. 1 tentacle attack and 1 beak attack. First the tentacle. A 2+4 is going to miss. The beak attack. An 18+4 is going to hit. 8 points of piercing damage. Back to the Mudhulk's turn. Another enveloping slam. A 13+5 is going to hit. 14 points of bludgeoning damage. DC 13 strength saving throw to prevent being engulfed. 9+2 is an 11. An 11 fails. The Grell is now engulfed once again. At the start of the Grell's turn, they're going to take 1d12 acid damage. 5 points of acid damage. Since they are restrained, their tentacle and beak attacks are going to be at disadvantage. An 8+4, that misses. Beak attack, a 15+4 does hit. 8 points of piercing damage. They can make another strength saving throw. This is important. An 8+2 is a 10. They do not escape this engulfed condition. We are back to the Mudhulk's turn. With the Grell engulfed, is not going to do anything. And now we are back to the Grell's turn, who takes 1d12 acid damage. 3 points of acid damage. Disadvantage, tentacles, and beak. Oh, a 13+4 hits with the tentacles. Let's see if the beak attack hits. An 8+4 misses. 4 points of piercing damage. The Mudhulk must succeed on a DC 11 Constitution saving throw or be poisoned. 12+3, a 15 saves. The Mudhulk is not poisoned. But the Grell is still engulfed. So, DC 13 strength saving throw. A 4 on the dice is not going to do it for the Grell. And we're back to the Mudhulk, who has the Grell engulfed. So they're not going to do anything here. It is back to the Grell's turn. 1d12 acid damage. 11 or 12 on this dice. And the Grell is down. 9 points of acid damage. Another 2 attacks, both at disadvantage. Tentacle first. A nat 20, but the 9+4 is a 13. Exactly what they need to hit. Let's see if the beak attack hits. A 4+4 misses. 8 points of piercing damage. The Mudhulk must make a DC 11 Constitution saving throw. A 7+3 fails, which means the Mudhulk is now poisoned. And at the end of the Grell's turn, this is vital. A DC 13 strength saving throw. They need to get an 11 or higher. Oh no. Oh no, Grell. That is a natural 1. It is now the Mudhulk's turn. They're not going to do anything. At the end of their turn, they can make another saving throw against this poisoned condition. I think both competitors are tired. That is a natural 1. The Mudhulk is still poisoned. That might not matter though. Here we go. A d12. The only way for the Grell to survive is if this is a 1. This has 12 sides. So there's a good chance it won't be a 1. That's what I'm saying. And with that, the Grell engulfed takes 8 points of acid damage, and the Grell goes down to the Mudhulk. Wow, oh wow. What an even matchup. With all of that said and done, the Mudhulk is moving on to the semifinals. Our final round 2 matchup in our CR3 tournament pits the Phantom Warrior versus the Draconian Infiltrator. Who's gonna win? There's only one way to find out. We gotta roll. The Draconian Infiltrator will be up first. They're gonna make 2 dagger attacks. That is 2 8s. And an 8+5, 13 misses. It is now the Phantom Warrior's turn, going to make 2 spectral longsword attacks. A 5+5 misses, but a 14+5 hits. 1d8+3 force damage. 9 points of damage. Back to the Draconian Infiltrator. Gonna make 2 more dagger attacks. A 3+5 misses, but the 14+5 hits. 1d4+3 piercing, plus 2d6 poison. But the Phantom Warrior is immune to poison damage. 5 points of piercing damage. The Phantom Warrior is also resistant to non-magical piercing damage, so that's only gonna deal 2 points of damage. That's tough for the Draconian Infiltrator. Phantom Warrior, 2 more Spectral Longsword attacks. A 6+5 misses, but the 18+5 hits. 5 points of force damage. Back to the Draconian Infiltrator. 2 more dagger attacks. 5+5 misses, but the 18+5 hits. 5 points of damage, halved to 2. Phantom Warrior, 2 more longsword attacks. A 6+5 misses, but the 15+5 hits. That's just the theme. 1 hit, 1 miss. 10 points of damage. Back to the Draconian Infiltrator. 2 more dagger attacks. Again, 1 hit and 1 miss. Guess that's just what we're doing today. 6 points of piercing damage, halved to 3. We're back to the Phantom Warrior. 2 more Spectral Longsword attacks. Okay. Buck the trend. 16+5 is gonna hit, and a natural 20. This might do it, folks. 3d8 plus 6 force damage. So, a total of 9 on these dice, and the Draconian Infiltrator is down. And that is 19 on the dice, plus 6, 25 total points of damage. And with that, the Draconian Infiltrator goes down. Oh my gosh. And just for posterity's sake, the Draconian Infiltrator has a feature called Death Throws. When the Draconian is reduced to 0 hit points, it turns into a puddle of acid and splashes acid on those around it. Each creature within 5 feet must succeed on a DC 12 dexterity saving throw. A 19 on the dice succeeds, which means the Phantom Warrior does not get covered in acid. And now we can officially say the Phantom Warrior is moving on to the semifinals, and so are we. We are on to the semifinals of our CR3 tournament. Basilisk versus Living Portent. Who's gonna win? There's only one way to find out. We gotta roll. The Living Portent will be up first. The Living Portent will look at the Basilisk, which will put the Basilisk's Petrifying Gaze into effect. If a creature starts its turn within 30 feet of the Basilisk can force the creature to make a DC 12 Constitution saving throw. A 12 plus 2 is a 14. A 14 succeeds. The Living Portent is not turning into stone, and they can make 2 Radiant Strike attacks. 10 plus 5 hits. The 6 plus 5 misses. 1d12 plus 3 radiant damage. 6 points of radiant damage. We are now to the Basilisk's turn. Going to make a bite attack. 11 plus 5 is going to hit. 2d6 plus 3 piercing plus 2d6 poison. 17 points of damage. And with that hit, the Living Portent is going to use their Price of Defiance reaction. When the Living Portent is damaged by a creature it can see, radiant power sears the creature. The creature must make a DC 13 Constitution saving throw. A 2 is not gonna get it done. 3d6 radiant damage. 8 points of radiant damage. We are now to the Living Portent's turn. The Living Portent is going to look at the Basilisk, which means they have to make a DC 12 Constitution saving throw. Another 12 plus 2. That is going to succeed. They're gonna make 2 Radiant Strike attacks. 2 plus 5 misses, but the 14 plus 5 does hit. 10 points of radiant damage. It is now to the Basilisk. They're going to make a bite attack. A 4 plus 5 misses. Back to the Living Portent's turn. DC 12 Constitution saving throw as they look at the Basilisk. They looked a little too long because that is a natural 1. The Living Portent begins turning into stone and is currently restrained. They're going to make 2 Radiant Strike attacks at disadvantage. A 3 plus 5 misses. Their second strike. And that is a natural 1. And is now the Basilisk's turn. The Basilisk is going to make a bite attack at advantage. An 18 plus 5 is going to hit. 22 points of damage. And with that hit, the Living Portent's going to use Price of Defiance as a reaction once again. DC 13 Constitution saving throw. A 13 plus 2 is going to succeed, which means 3d6 radiant damage halved. Okay, a total of 10 half to 5 points of damage. It is now the Living Portent's turn. The Living Portent turning into stone is going to cast their once a day spell, Greater Restoration. With Greater Restoration cast on themselves, the Living Portent is now not being restrained and not turning into stone. It is now to the Basilisk's turn. They're going to make a bite attack. Oh boy. Oh boy, a natural 1. Okay, with that turn of events, the Living Portent is going to elect to avert its eyes. But for their first attack, they get advantage because of the natural 1, which means their first attack is going to be a straight roll. A natural 20. The no-look Radiant Strike. Bam! That was their first strike. Their second one, disadvantage because they're looking away. A 14 plus 5 also hits. Holy cow. What a turn. 3d12 plus 6 radiant damage. A 17 on these 3 dice, and the Living Portent defeats the Basilisk. That is some bad rolls. That is a total of 9 on the dice, plus 6 is only 15 points of damage. Oh my gosh, the Basilisk has a chance here. So the Basilisk's turn. The Living Portent looking away will have advantage on this bite attack. I just snorted. 7 plus 5. They miss. Wow. Wow. Okay, the Living Portent's turn. The Basilisk on the ropes. The Living Portent is going to look at the Basilisk. DC 12 Constitution saving throw, plus 2. And that is a natural 1. The Living Portent begins turning into stone. Okay, turning into stone. The Living Portent, 2d20s. Radiant strike attacks, 2 of them. 4 plus 5 misses. Their second attack. A 3 plus 5 misses. Oh no. It is the Basilisk's turn. With the Living Portent restrained, their bite attack is going to be at advantage. A 19 plus 5 is certainly going to hit. 2d6 plus 3 piercing plus 2d6 poison. A total of 23. That's not going to happen. That's like all 6s and a 5. No, that's not going to happen. I don't even have to tell you that. 15 points of damage to the Living Portent. The Living Portent is going to use their reaction, Price of Defiance. DC 13 Constitution saving throw from the Basilisk. And 8 plus 2 is going to fail. 3d6 radiant damage. A total of 8 on these 3 dice, and the Basilisk is down. And that is a total of 9 points of damage, and the Basilisk is down. A 6 on the dice, the Living Portent turns fully into stone. As is the case in the IFC, any condition, any health impairments that a fighter may have can be healed in between matches. And so even though the Living Portent is fully a stone, we will cure the Living Portent, which means the Living Portent is going to the championships. That is right. The Living Portent defeats the Basilisk. The IFC, baby. This is where dreams happen. What a match. The Living Portent is moving on to the championships. Our second semifinal matchup in our CR3 tournament pits the Mudhulk versus Phantom Warrior. Who's gonna win? There's only one way to find out. We gotta roll. The Phantom Warrior will be up first. Gonna make 2 Spectral Longsword attacks. A natural 1. That does not hit. But the 16 plus 5 does hit. 1d8 plus 3 force damage. 8 points of force damage. It is the Mudhulk's turn. With that natural 1, the Mudhulk's going to have advantage on their enveloping slam attack. That is a natural 20 for the Mudhulk. What a good start. 2d12 plus 3 bludgeoning damage. 21 points of bludgeoning damage, but the Phantom Warrior is resistant to bludgeoning damage from non-magical attacks, so they only take 10 points of damage. In addition, if the target is large or smaller, it must succeed on a DC 13 strength saving throw. A 15 plus 3 does save. It is now the Phantom Warrior's turn. Gonna make 2 more Spectral Longsword attacks. A 4 plus 5 is gonna miss, but that 18 plus 5 does hit. 8 points of force damage. Back to the Mudhulk's turn. Another enveloping slam attack. A 13 plus 5 is going to hit. 1d12 plus 3 bludgeoning damage. 12 points of bludgeoning damage, halved to 6. Another DC 13 strength saving throw. How did that go from a 1 to 13? It has to be ghosts. The Phantom Warrior moved it. But regardless, that is a 13 plus 3, and that does succeed. Back to the Phantom Warrior's turn. 2 more Spectral Longsword attacks. A natural 20, and an 8 plus 5 is a 13. That hits as well. 3d8 plus 6 force damage. 22 points of damage. That is a good hit. Now the Mudhulk's turn. Gonna make another enveloping slam attack. A 19 plus 5 is going to hit. 10 plus 3 is 13, halved to 6. We got another DC 13 strength saving throw. A 9 plus 3 is a 12, which does not succeed. The Phantom Warrior is pulled into the Mudhulk space and engulfed by the Mudhulk. While engulfed, the target can't breathe, has a restrained condition, and takes 1d12 acid damage at the start of each of its turns. The Phantom Warrior cannot be restrained, but it will still take the 1d12 acid at the start of each of its turns, which it is the start of the Phantom Warrior's turn, so they take 1d12 acid damage. 12 points of acid damage. Wow. Okay, that is huge. Because the Phantom Warrior cannot be restrained, the Phantom Warrior can leave the Mudhulk space. Now they can make 2 more Spectral Longsword attacks. A 15 and 17 on the dice. Both of those hit. Only 5 on the dice plus 6 is going to be 11 points of damage. We are getting down to it, folks. Back to the Mudhulk's turn. Gonna make another enveloping slam attack. The Mudhulk is rolling spectacular. A 19 plus 5 hits. 4 plus 3 is 7, halved to 3 points of damage. We now need a DC 13 strength saving throw. A 5 plus 3 is going to fail. Wow. Okay, we've already done this before. The Phantom Warrior cannot be restrained. We need to resolve the 1d12 acid damage at the start of each of their turns. An 8 or higher on this dice, and the Mudhulk is victorious. Let's see. Of course! Of course! That's what's gonna happen! 7 points of acid damage. The Phantom Warrior down to 1 hit point. But it's their turn now. They have a chance here. They have a real chance here. The Phantom Warrior is gonna make 2 Spectral Longsword attacks. Okay. A 16 plus 5 hits. A 3 plus 5 misses. Whoa! Whoa! A total of 9 points of force damage. With that, it is back to the Mudhulk. The Mudhulk, seeing the Phantom Warrior on their last legs, is going to use their Mud Splash action. The Mudhulk lobs a mass of mud, splashes in a 10-foot radius. Each creature in that area must make a DC 13 dexterity saving throw. And that is a 13 that succeeds. The Phantom Warrior is going to take 2d6 plus 3 bludgeoning damage, halved and halved again because they are resistant to non-magical attacks. 9 points of bludgeoning damage, halved to 4, halved again to 2, and with 2 points of damage, the Mudhulk defeats the Phantom Warrior. Oh my god, that was wild! Wild! The Mudhulk is moving on to the championships. We have made it. The championships of the CR3 tournament. Living Portent versus the Mudhulk. Who's gonna win? There's only one way to find out. We gotta roll. The Mudhulk will be up first. Gonna use their enveloping slam. A 4 plus 5 is going to miss. Now the Living Portent's turn. Gonna make 2 Radiant Strike attacks. A natural 1, but a 12 plus 5 is going to hit. 1d12 plus 3 radiant damage. 14 points of radiant damage. Now the Mudhulk's turn. Because of that natural 1 is going to have advantage on their enveloping slam. 15 plus 5 is going to hit. 1d12 plus 3 bludgeoning damage. 5 points of bludgeoning damage. The target must succeed on a DC 13 strength saving throw. 5 plus 2 is only a 7, which means the living portent is pulled into the Mudhulk space and is engulfed by the Mudhulk. While engulfed, the target can't breathe, has the restrained condition, and takes 1d12 acid damage at the start of each of its turns. The living portent is going to use a reaction, Price of Defiance. When the living portent is damaged by a creature, radiant power sears that creature. The creature must make a DC 13 Constitution saving throw. A 13 plus 3 is going to save. 3d6 radiant damage halved. 15 points of radiant damage halved to 7. Now the living portent's turn. So on the top of the living portent's turn, they're going to take 1d12 acid damage. 5 points of acid damage. Because the living portent's turn just started, they regain their reactions. They just took damage from the Mudhulk. They're going to use Price of Defiance one more time. A natural 20, the Mudhulk saves. 13 points of damage halved to 6. The living portent is going to make 2 radiant strike attacks at disadvantage because they are restrained. A 5 plus 5 is going to miss. Attack number 2 is a natural 1. The living portent can repeat their saving throw at the end of their turn. Okay, a 16 plus 2. That succeeds. That means the living portent is no longer restrained. It is to the Mudhulk's turn. Because of that natural 1, they have advantage on this next enveloping slam. A 19 plus 5 is going to hit. 13 points of bludgeoning damage. The living portent needs to make a DC 13 strength saving throw. A natural 20. That succeeds. Now the living portent's turn. 2 radiant strike attacks. A 19 plus 5 hits, but the 7 plus 5 misses. Wow. 14 points of radiant damage. Dang, that is a big hit. The Mudhulk's turn. Another enveloping slam attack. A 13 plus 5 is going to hit. 7 points of bludgeoning damage. Another DC 13 strength saving throw. A 15 plus 3 succeeds. The living portent is going to use their reaction, Price of Defiance. 9 plus 3 is only a 12. That fails. 13 points of radiant damage. Oh my god. This living portent is good. 2 more radiant strike attacks. A 13 plus 5 hits. A 3 plus 5 misses. An 11 or higher, the Mudhulk goes down. A 6 plus 3 is 9 points of damage. It is the Mudhulk's turn. Another enveloping slam attack. Oh no. Oh no. And that all but seals the Mudhulk's fate. Back to the living portent's turn. Their first radiant strike will be at advantage. A 19 plus 5 hits. This next radiant strike, if they hit, minimum damage will take out the Mudhulk. Let's see. And a 17 plus 5. That hits the Mudhulk. And with minimum damage, the living portent takes out the Mudhulk. Wow, oh wow. What a run from the Mudhulk. And my gosh, I think this living portent should not be a CR3 because this living portent ran rampant through the CR3s. I'm excited to see the living portent against the CR4s. Oh my gosh, what a tournament. The living portent is the champion of the CR3 tournament. My name is Brandon, and I'll see you next time on Interplanar Fighting Championships.